Detective Todd, you're excused. I'm sorry, Detective Johnson, I was reading your first name. You're excused. Thank you.
And while we're waiting on this to go through, Attorney Freeman, you indicated that the loitering on ball and the VGCSA are consent bonds.
Yes.
All right, now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Yvonne as Kenyon West. Charged in warrant number 2024 WA 72899, and that is obstruction. And 2024 WA 72900, simple assault. 2024 WA 72901, simple battery on an officer. Representing the state, Attorney Freeman, representing defendant, Attorney Lewis. Attorney Freeman, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Skeet, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony about to provide in the matter of State of Georgia versus Kenyon West will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
Officer Kendall Steve, the Clayton County Police Department.
How long have you worked with the Clayton County Police Department?
For a little over a year now.
And sir, do you have any prior law enforcement experience before coming to the Clayton County Police Department?
Yes, about 2 years of juvenile corrections.
Was that in the state of Georgia?
Both Georgia and Florida.
Were you working with the Clayton County Police Department on March 4th of 2024?
That's correct.
Now, that particular day, did you come into contact with Mr. Kenyon West at 641 Old Dixie Way in Forest Park, Georgia?
That's correct.
Could you tell us what is at that location?
It's apartments. I can't remember the name of them now.
Why were you dispatched to those apartments?
It was a repeat domestic violence call. I was out there earlier that date, involving Mr. West and his girlfriend. And she pretty much explained that Mr. West had just recently been released from prison for some time, and he's just not been the same. He's been irate, verbally abusive towards her, and she was in fear of him and him being around the child as well.
When you got there, did you observe any visible injuries to his girlfriend?
No, she didn't advise of any physical contact between the two.
Was Mr. West still at the location?
The second time I came, yes, he was. He was the one that opened the door.
What happened after you got to that address the second time?
Well, when I got there, he opened the door. He was already like on 10, yelling, wanting to know why we were there. He was obviously upset that the police was there. And he was kind of ignoring commands. I was trying to get him to calm down, trying to get him to stay out of the room. He's searching through the closet while I'm trying to talk to him, understand what was going on. So I instructed him multiple times to stay in the living room. At the time, there was an infant sitting on the bed. I kind of didn't want him yelling and screaming in front of the infant that was in the room. So I tried to keep the door closed and keep him in the living room so we could kind of talk about what was going on. Because I explained to him he wasn't in trouble or anything. We just have to investigate. I mean, we were called out here. He kind of didn't want to listen. He tried to go into the room again. This time I had to physically move him out of the room. From that time, he slapped my wrist. I grabbed him and put him in the living room and gave him the opportunity to calm down. He kind of calmed down for a second because obviously he was irritated that we were there. He served time in prison. I was trying to take all that in consideration. He don't like law enforcement. But like I told him, like, you're not in trouble. You're just trying to figure out what's going on. You're not really cooperating. After he calmed down, he was explaining, she didn't like that. Well, she didn't want to leave the kids with him. She always taking the kids when she leave the house. He just want to spend time with the kid, his son. And I guess he felt some type of way about that. So I then proceeded to go talk to her outside while he was calm talking to another officer. And he just stopped talking and diverted his attention towards me. I guess he assumed that I was looking at his baby mother inappropriately. And he said it out loud. He said I was looking at her butt or whatever. and he got mad and started storming around the apartment, hitting stuff. Went in the kitchen. He wouldn't listen to commands anymore, and then he punched open the door to the room where the infant was. So I then went again to grab him out of the room, and once again he slapped my wrist again, slapped it out the way, telling me not to touch him. And then that's when I grabbed him and tried to get him out the room. He began fighting, trying to pull away from us, pull away from myself and another officer. We finally get him out of the room. Once we get in the living room, he starts swinging with closed fists at another officer. And from there, I took him to the ground. And from there, he still wasn't listening to verbal commands. He was still trying to fight, and it resulted in him being tased on the ground.
Ross?
I'm sorry, Judge, I should have asked you a moment.
Okay.
Officer Skeet, during this incident, were there other officers present?
Yes, Officer Canfield was present during the incident.
And during any time, did Mr. West strike or attempt to strike Officer Canfield, you said?
That's correct. He attempted to strike Officer Canfield.
What exactly did Mr. West do?
Well, he started to swing like closed fists, and I mean, you can hear it on the body camera. Officer Canfield was like, "You swinging at me?" So I just turned around. I got behind him and pulled him away from Officer Canfield because he's swinging at him closed fists, and we took him to the ground from there.
I think you already answered my next question, but did you had on body cam during this time?
Oh yes, me and Officer Canfield had our body cameras rolling.
Has that footage been preserved?
I'm pretty sure it has. My supervisor was notified of the incident. It was labeled and he reviewed it all. I'm pretty sure they reserved it.
Was Mr. West's girlfriend present during this incident?
Yeah, she was in the living room during the entire time.
Did she provide a statement about what she saw that happened?
Verbally, yes. I can't remember if not the first time I had her write a written statement, I was out there, because the second time I came out there, it really wasn't much to do. It was all focused on him pretty much the whole time. So
Well, I guess my question, so that second time, did she see all of what was going on?
oh yeah, she was sitting there the entire time. Yeah.
Okay. Can you recall if she gave a verbal or written statement about what she saw that second time?
No, I can't.
I'm sorry. Could you be a little more clear about that question? What she saw about what?
What he just testified to Attorney Lewis.
You meaning the contest with he and the officers?
Yes.
Okay, I understand. Judge, let me object on relevance. We don't have a terroristic threat charge here.
Well, I'm not asking if she heard anything, Judge. Typically in our cases, we always ask if there were other witnesses to an incident.
You can proceed.
Thank you, Judge. And so just so we're clear, Officer Skeet, that you don't recall if the girlfriend made a statement about what she witnessed between the officers and Mr. West.
Yeah. I really don't recall asking her about it. I just remember talking to her about what was going on with them after the fact. Yeah.
Did all of this happen in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have, Judge.
All righty, go ahead, Attorney Lewis.
Thank you, Judge. Officer, do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
You were speaking so clearly and so crisply that I missed some of it. So spell your first name for me.
Kendall.
And your last name, sir?
Skeete.
That's all I needed. Thank you, officer.
All right, no problem.
I'm done, Judge.
Yeah. No other questions?
The state waives opening.
All righty, closing arguments, Attorney Lewis.
Thank you, Judge. It depends on what we're looking at here, Judge. So let me start with the simple assault. I want to move to dismiss. The actions or conduct towards the young lady were verbal in nature. There's nothing physical about her. In fact, what she says, if I can correctly restating what Officer Skeet is, that he's been acting since he got home from prison, acting that. I guess I would say he's not well adjusted to being back out. I think that's what she's trying to describe. But there is no act of violence there, and I believe that's why Officer Skeet leaves the location, comes back again, and still we have no threats of violence towards her. In fact, we learned from Officer Skeet that his only issue with her is that she's taking the kids, and he wanted to be with the kids, I guess, since he got home from prison. So on the simple assault, which is the threat of violence, I would ask the court to decline that. With respect to the simple battery, I would ask the court to decline that. There is a felony charge here of obstruction. I would submit to that based upon the testimony of the officer, and that's it.
So you're saying 2,900 is what you're contesting? The simple assault?
You got it. Yes, ma'am. Simple assault.
Okay.
Didn't see the numbers, but yes, ma'am. The simple assault I'm contesting, and then so I've got a list of judges, three charges: simple assault,
Right.
simple battery, and felony obstruction.
Okay. The simple assault, the simple assault, that is against her or the officer? I didn't.
Against the officer, Judge. And that was her argument. So the simple assault is the attempt to strike Officer Canfield. And then the simple battery on the officer, I believe, is when he did, in fact, strike Officer Skeet.
I think that there is maybe I'm confused, but I thought that there was completed action on Canfield and Skeet.
Well, there may have been, but the simple assault is still, and even in the WA, it says attempted strike with a closed fist. And so the attempted strike.
Correct. But there's completed action. And
that's the simple battery on the officer. So, but Mr. Lewis has made his argument. My argument, Judge, is that based on the testimony of Officer Skeet.
I'm sorry. Judge, you were asking questions. And she just
I know, I apologize because I had gotten a little confused. Were you done, Attorney Lewis?
Are you good?
Yes, I'm good.
All right.
And so are you done with your closing arguments, Attorney Lewis?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Attorney Freeman.
Thank you, Judge. And Judge, Attorney Lewis and I go back and forth on stuff all the time.
I know. Mm-hmm.
And so what we are asking that all the charges are bound over to Superior Court. I believe the testimony does support a simple assault as well as a simple battery on a law enforcement officer and a felony obstruction. I don't believe that any of these charges deal with the first time the officers went to the location, but the second time is when, as Officer Skeet said, everything was kind of all about Mr. West. And so given that, we were asking that all the charges are bound over to Superior Court.
All right. Based upon the evidence presented, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind all three cases over to the Superior Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Thank you.